Alright. Alright, Shalom, Akim. This is Abaya Allah here, the surrogate of Yahawashi / paradise, and all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, BAHASHAM, Kahakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Greatmillstone, taught us truth and rule well. Peace and salutations unto the shepherds that feed the sheep of the Heavenly Father Yahawah, and His only begotten Son Yahawashi, who the Word ignorantly called Jesus Christ. That's His name in the ancient Hebrew. Right? This means He delivers, coming to deliver the predestined elect of the nation of Israel, which you read in the book of Revelation, the 7th chapter, which consists of the 12 tribes, the so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, Hispanic, Latinos, and Native Seminole Indians, and those who descend from those 12 that is scattered at every nation under heaven. All right, who have mixed complexions, mixed features, speak different tongues, or even look like that of another race or nation, but their spirit and bloodline goes back to those 12 tribes. This is not a color thing. This is a nationality thing, okay? The sons of God, as you read the scriptures, the children of Israel. So to you, I say shalom. This is a real quick video.
Today, 17th of March 2023, the International Criminal Court has issued 2 warrants of arrest in the Ukraine situation. For Vladimir Putin, President of the Russian Federation, and for Maria Lvova-Belova, Commissioner of the Russian President for Children's Rights, for the alleged war crimes of deportation of children from Ukrainian occupied territories into the Russian Federation. It is forbidden by international law for occupying powers to transfer civilians from the territory they live in to other territories. Children enjoy special protection under the Geneva Convention. This is an important moment in the process of justice before the ICC. The judges have reviewed the information and evidence submitted by the prosecutor and determined that there are credible allegations against these persons for the alleged crimes. The ICC is doing its part of work. As a court of law, the judges issued arrest warrants. Their execution depends on international cooperation.
This is a historic moment in the conflict in Ukraine. The International Criminal Court, which operates independently, has issued an indictment for President Putin and the Children's Commissioner for appalling crimes against children. It's going to be, I suspect, a long journey, but people said that about Yugoslavia and Rwanda, and many of those people responsible for the carnage ended up in the dock of a court. I think in the short term it'll be very hard for President Putin to move around the world because there'll be so many countries who are parties to the ICC who will be duty bound to arrest him. But we're going to be increasing our offer of support on everything from forensic support, training of investigators and lawyers, support for witnesses, and particularly, which we do incredibly well in this country, support for victims. We hope that by showing some lead with our Dutch opposite number and many others, other countries will weigh in with their support, and that is the way we'll make a success of the court and see these indictments follow through and proper accountability for those appalling crimes.
right, this is Ezekiel 26 and 14. It says, remember, this is how'd you say it? Allegorical or parabolic. I forget the words, but the exact word, but they mean two things. A lot of this happened in ancient Babylon or Neo-Babylon with Nebuchadnezzar. We were in captivity under him, the Cushites. But as I read down, you're going to see that this is not talking about the Neo-Babylonian Empire. It's talking about Babylon the Great. Okay? And I'm going to read this real quick. Okay? And then I'm going to show us some videos either before or after this. Okay? I'll just get the precepts and then I'm going to close it out. Okay? So this is Ezekiel 26 and 14. It says, and I will make thee like the top of a rock. Now, as you know, what do at least do the elites or politicians or heads of Esau in the public eye, what do they have? Summit meetings, okay? Like your G7, your G8s. That goes to what? The top of a mountain, the top of a rock, okay? Because that was Esau's habitation, the clefts of the rock, okay? That's why he has skyscrapers and things of that nature, because that's in his nature, okay? And it says, and I will make thee like the top of a rock, which shows you to be ruled by the Edomites. Okay, this kingdom, this rulership. And it says, thou shalt be a place to spread nets upon. Right. And right now, a net means what? Something that you use to grab or seize, take hold. Okay. Now, if you want to make more sense today, when it comes to people, it's talking about what? As you've been hearing, these concentration camps or the new thing, these 15-minute cities that you've been hearing about, okay? That will place the people under what? A new form of captivity, okay? In the old way, it would be what these concentration camps, the FEMA camps, people been hearing about, throughout the years. But the latest one of these smart cities, okay, where you'll be presented with a universal basic income, and you'll be told what to eat, what to buy, how to move, and really you won't be moving at all through what the elimination of carbon. Okay, the whole climate change that they were talking about to reduce the carbon footprint on the earth, as mainly a movement and pretty much the lives of the people. Okay. So I'm not going to go too far into it, but let me continue on. Just want to get that out. It says, thou shalt be a place to spread nets upon. Okay, and right now, also, there's really no borders here. Okay, you just had an agreement that took place in January or February called DNA, the Declaration of North America, meaning this place is no longer the 50 states. Okay, that's why you have a wide open borders. This is why you have Canada's ways far more like America's ways. Okay, they all want an agreement right now, but I did hear something with Mexico, and I introduced that into the video. I talk about it a little further down. All right, so it says, "Thou shalt be a place to spread nets upon." Okay, now you got these Gurga troops and all that, and all these other things that you've been hearing about. Okay, they're ready to take vengeance on this place for what this place, through their military, have done to the countries abroad. Okay, a lot of these movies that you see with these mercenary troops, like the movie Bushwick, and the Purge movies. Okay, you name them. All right, a lot of them, well, they even from foreign countries. Oh, the Blue Hats, the UN troops, the peacekeepers. Okay, they've been seen in America these past 2-3 years. Okay, at airports, all right, such places like that, because they know the crashing of this economy is going to bring what? Chaos, all right, which we're in the midst of. Okay, so let me continue. It says, thou shalt be built no more, except for those smart cities right now, but this is for, further down the line when the Lord utterly destroys this place with thermonuclear fire. after all the hell breaks loose. Okay? And it says, for I, the Lord, have spoken it, saith the Lord God, Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. Thus saith the Lord power to Tyrus. Tyrus is another phrase or term for Babylon the Great, because Tyrus was a place known for its great seaports and trade. That's why you have Wall Street here. Okay, all those ancient kingdoms and cities, the spirit and even how they became rich is in one place. But that influence has been spread upon the whole world. Okay, ruled by Esau, Edom, of course. It says, shall not the owls shake at the sound of thy fall? All right, they're shaking right now with the central banking system going belly up. Okay, that's a part of it. It says, when the wounded cry, when the slaughter is made in the midst of thee. Okay, this is getting ready to be very violent out here. Okay, when this system goes belly up, and then you come to find out you don't have a check, you don't have a pension. All right, your 401k is gone. That's what's going on in France right now. All right, Nigeria is rioting. All hell break loose over there. And other parts of the world. Okay, because they're introducing what, the CBDC system, which is that digital currency. All right, which should be required of you to place a device underneath your skin. Okay, and we know what that is, the MOTB. That's the time we in. Okay, that's why all these things are happening, because we're in the final stages of prophecy. Okay, and it says, then all the princes of the sea shall come down from their thrones. Okay, the other nations, all right, that depend upon this place through trade, and lay their robes and put off their broidered garments. They shall clothe themselves with trembling. They shall sit upon the ground and shall tremble at every moment, and be astonished at thee. Okay, they hate this place right now, because the dollar is going to be one of the sole purposes of their countries going bankrupt. Okay, cause them to be a fourth world country. Okay, because America is pretty much in that stead right now. It just still has that lackluster goal, because this is what what is it, the mother of kingdoms, as the scriptures call it. Okay, or the glory of kingdoms. Okay, this is the final kingdom before the kingdom of heaven is established on earth, before our Lord Yahawashi returns and take it out. All right, and these wicked people here and across the world, of course. All right, through World War III, and it says, and they shall take up a lamentation for thee, and say to thee, how art thou destroyed, that was inhabited of seafaring men of other nations, through trade. Okay, the cargoes, the ships. It says the renowned city, which was strong in the sea. How are they strong this time around? Through their maritime law, the law of the high seas. Okay, which shows you this place is Babylon the Great. Another key. It says, she and her inhabitants, which caused their terror to be upon all that haunted. Okay, because that's what this place is known for. We go as recent as what? The Middle East, the weapons of mass destruction, which come to find out there wasn't. What's going on over there in the Ukraine. Okay. So, and many, 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 many more. Okay. And let me continue. It says, now shall the owls tremble in the day of thy fall. Yea, the owls that are in the sea, okay, which are the nations of the sea, like Hawaii, the Caribbean islands, certain other nations, all right, that are upon the waters, which is pretty much all the nations, which are surrounded by water. Okay, it says, now shall the owls tremble in the day of thy fall. Yea, the owls that are in the sea shall be troubled at thy departure. Right, because right now, it's been found out that the so-called United States, they're pretty much losing the race at being the heads of this new world order. All right, this is why you have China boasting itself, which is part of prophecy, and which is pretty much the BRICS nations, Russia and China. Okay, that they're on the losing end this time around. But see, back in the After World War II in the 50s, they were the spearhead, okay, spiritually, because they're Babylon the Great. But right now, they're in a fallen state right now, okay? So the war is definitely going to happen. It should be a coincidence. The economies collapse. Every time the economies collapse, even within a superpower or powering nation, domino effect happens, and then world war happens. That's where we are. The third woe cometh quickly, like the book of Revelation says. Okay? And it says, for thus saith the Lord power, when I shall make thee a desolate city, like the cities that are not inhabited. But this place going to be a desert. At the end all be all, when the Lord Yahawashi returns, and when the Lord sends those arrows from one end of the earth to the other. Other places are going to get hit, but not like this place, because the blood of the saints has been spilled here. Okay? The so-called Negroes, the so-called Native Americans, Seminole Indians, the Mexican Americans, and all the other tribes, when they get judged here, okay, during Jacob's trouble, which they deserve, but all that blood has to be accounted for, all the blood that's been spilled here, okay? That's in the scriptures as well. Things in the book of Numbers, all right? And that's part of Esau's tab he has to pay. Right, but the wicked of our people are going to have to go with it, all right? They inherit the blessing later, all right, through reincarnation. And it says, for thus said the Lord power, when I shall make thee a desolate city, like the cities that are not inhabited, when I shall bring up the deep upon thee, and great waters shall cover thee. All right, because the effects of these nuclear bombs, they're going to cause tsunamis, earthquakes. Okay, that's going to kill people as well. All right, but this place is going to be left as a memorial. All right, going back to, I think, Jeremiah, I think the 16th chapter, if I'm not mistaken, how the Lord delivereth the children of Israel, not from the land of Egypt, but from the land of the north. Okay, North America. That's the only place that's considered north of anything on the planet right now. That is a superpower of the whole planet Earth. All right, because this is the second Egypt. All right, and it says, when I shall bring thee down with them that descend into the pit. Pit means the ground, submerged underneath. With the people of old time, and shall set thee in the low parts of the earth. Man, in places desolate of old, like they be finding old cities. After that's why you have excavationists or archaeologists, I believe, anthropologists, where they dig deep into the earth and then they try to find old cities, or they come across some old silverware from the past. That's what that's talking about. Okay, and it says, in places desolate of old, with them that go down to the pit, that thou be not inhabited, and I shall set glory in the land of the living. That's in Jerusalem, the kingdom of heaven. All right, that's going to be where the kingdom of heaven is. The gates are going to be. When you read the scriptures, it talks about the 12, the apostles. All right, the very head 12 and 144,000 men, and there's going to be 12 gates. Okay, that land is going to go back to how it was at the very beginning, surpassing the beginning. All right, because this kingdom is going to be forever and ever. All right, and we're never going to go off with the brand new bodies, never subject to sin ever again, and we're not going to die neither. All right, sounds like sci-fi, but that's where they get it from, because it's getting ready to happen. But anyway, it says, I will make thee a terror, and thou shalt be no more. Though thou be sought for, yet shalt thou never be found again, saith the Lord power Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi. Okay, what's going to happen here in other parts of the world, that's going to bring terror to the earth. Okay, and they're going to see that this place that was once the glittering, how would you say it, the light at the end of the tunnel, the kingdom that was thought seemingly to be paved with gold, silver, and gold. It's no more. It was destroyed just like that through great violence through the missiles, man. The seventh trumpet, the end all be all. but we're in the stages of the breakdown right now. Okay, so see if I had anything else. I think that's it. I think I had one more. I don't know where it is. Let me see. Yeah, but that's going into our people because that's going to happen. Oh no, wicked, even a wicked generation. Uh, let's see. Let's see. Guess I'll read this too. This is Proverbs 25 and 16. Now, this is for really brothers, to be content with what they have because this kingdom is getting ready to pass away. All right, which we've been waiting for. Okay, not to put your trust, in this place, even your own family, especially if they don't believe in this truth. Okay, your own woman, she don't believe in this truth. But on the flip side of that, all right, if you go with Yahawah BAHASHAM Yahawashi, the Lord Himself, He may actually protect your family for them to make it through this thing or even be delivered. All right, through this whole thing. But let me read this real quick. This is Proverbs 25. All right, because now these curses are starting to fall upon what? Our enemies. All right, Esau, even, what is it? They under the curses anyway. The white jakes, the tens of millions that are here. Okay, maybe even 100 million. All right, because I know brothers, some of them have a hard time, deciphering whether, this one is an Edomite or they don't know how to read the spirit that well. But they watch the UFC. Some of them listen to rock. Some of them, they listen to certain genres or whatnot. It may look like Edomites, but wrestling. But you know damn well those are jakes though. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. But the point being is that everybody is now falling, under the what is the plagues of the Lord, pretty much. The plagues of Egypt are coming upon this place. So it says, "Hast thou found honey? Eat so much as is sufficient for thee." So I said, "Be content, lest thou be filled therewith and vomited." And a lot of these people that they have their, big savings accounts, or they've gotten married and they have all of their, their faith and have like this future that they're gonna work and just retire and everything's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be there. I'm talking about this day. We're not talking about those that have collected, a year ago or years before. We're talking about like right now. All right, are they gonna build some sort of wealth for their family? That's not gonna happen, Jack. All right, as you can see, if you've been watching the news. Okay, that's why it says, "Lest thou be filled therewith and vomited," and that's what a lot of people is happening already. Okay, this is, "Withdraw thy foot from thy neighbor's house, lest he be weary of thee and so hate thee." All right, now you could compare that with what the average peon or a citizen trusting in their government. And right now, there's been polls of these people seeing what their government has been doing to them, and they've been lied to pretty much the whole damn time. All right, starting with what the Ohio Chernobyl incident. All right, now it's funny. There's been tens more of those kind of accidents that have taken place. We're talking about yesterday. It probably one getting ready to be set up today. All right, which I'm going to show you. They're derailing trains like crazy. Okay, factories being burnt on fire to a crisp. All right, I got all of that information, through the videos. So this place is under attack, whether you know it or not. They're destroying it from within. Like I said, this place is no more really. Okay, but now the plague is the what? The financial system. Now everything's getting ready to burst. Okay, and they're gonna blame the average citizen for these bail-ins, all right? For why these companies are taking out all their monies and protecting only, those who are the billionaires, all right, who are pretty much the soul of those corporations or those banking systems. Okay, they're gonna blame it on the average citizen. Okay, so now everybody's now is what, the rich versus the poor right now. And we're not talking about your average celebrity. They're gonna be poor with us as well. All right, their usefulness is gonna be gone. All right, and deceiving the masses very soon. So it says, a man that beareth false witness against his neighbor is a maul, and a sword and a sharp arrow. Okay, right now that's these governments against the average citizen here and abroad. All right, because what's happening here was happening abroad during the first year of the pandemic. Okay, but now it's reached the final place. The best for last, which is this place, because this was pretty much the spearhead of everything. Like I said, this is Babylon the Great. All right. And it says, confidence in an unfaithful man in time of trouble is like a broken tooth and a foot out of joint. Okay, he that taketh away a garment in cold weather. No, he that taketh away a garment in cold weather, and as vinegar upon nitre, so is he that singeth songs to a heavy heart. Okay, and that's pretty much what's going on right now. It's like a foot out of joint. You walk, you think you're all good, and then everything just starts collapsing. Within your life, everything starts to go wrong. And that's why having confidence in a wicked man, because Esau is the wicked, starting with the elites. Okay, and trusting your politicians. This is why there's a spirit of civil war in the air as we speak, and it's ever growing right now, because so-called middle class, or what's left of it, even those who are more well off, they're now losing. Okay, to the point where they really don't have any status. They live in paycheck to paycheck right now, as we speak, and in fear, okay, of their livelihoods. Definitely after what took place last week, and it's just going to grow from there. All right, so I just wanted to, go into some scriptures real quick to show you what time we in, and then I'm gonna show you these videos, even more videos after this, however I do it. So I hope this video is edifying to the elect. Till next time, Shalom, Yahawah, BAHASHAM, Yahawashi, Barakatum. To the elect. Till next time, Shalom.
We're getting some breaking news into our newsroom late tonight from northwestern Arizona up near Bullhead City. A train carrying hazardous materials has derailed in Mojave County. Here's a map of where this happened on the I-40 or along the I-40 between Bullhead City and Lake Havasu. The sheriff's office tells us there are no reports of any spills at this time. The NTSB heading to the scene to lead the investigation. No word yet on a cause or what kind of hazardous material was on the train, but we'll of course keep you updated as new information comes into us.
Here at home, we have the latest on the train carrying 30,000 gallons of liquid propane derailed in Florida as Ohio cleans up from their toxic accident. Victor Akendo has the latest. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Rebecca. The railroad company telling ABC News that a second propane tanker also derailed, but that one stayed upright. Officials using thermal imaging to examine those tankers and say so far there is no leak, but warning those nearby that if conditions change, they might have to evacuate. This morning, the investigation is underway after a train carrying more than 30,000 gallons of propane fuel derailed in Florida.
Can you identify the hazardous material?
Crews in Sarasota, south of Tampa, finding that propane tanker and 4 boxcars carrying sheetrock off the tracks toppled on their sides.
The thought of a 30,000-gallon liquid propane tanker on its side, yeah, that's a bit of a concern.
Officials saying so far there is no leak, but warning nearby businesses they may have to evacuate if conditions change.
If we had to evacuate this area, it would have been about a square mile we had to evacuate.
More than 150 feet of track uprooted and destroyed. The railway operator Seminole Gulf estimating that repairs will not be completed until next week. This as the head of the EPA makes a return to East Palestine, Ohio, the town at the center of that toxic train derailment.
I recognize there has been a deficit of trust.
Officials installing up to 3 water monitoring wells out of an abundance of caution, but say testing has shown no signs of contamination from the derailment in the air or the town's water system. As for the hazardous waste from Ohio, Indiana's governor objecting to the EPA's decision to send some of that waste to his state, saying that there's just been a lack of communication. Robin?
Seems to be the case, Victor. Thank you. Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out.
Xcel.
A radioactive leak at a nuclear power plant right here in Minnesota.
Xcel Energy says it happened at its plant in Monticello last November. Now, contaminated water is slowly creeping toward the Mississippi River. WCCO's Alan Henry spoke with agencies about how they plan to stop it and why it took months for the public to find out.
Jeff Rowan lives about a half a mile from Xcel Energy's nuclear power plant in Monticello. He had no idea that 4 months ago, 400,000 gallons of radioactive water leaked in the facility.
Yeah, that concerns me. That somebody wouldn't have told, especially the city should have let us know. Somebody should have let us know.
Both Xcel and the Minnesota Pollution Control Agency released statements about the leak Thursday afternoon, making it public knowledge for the first time. They say on November 22nd, they discovered a pipe leaking the radioactive water and began working to fix it. Almost 4 months now. Why are people just now hearing about this?
If at any point there had been a concern for the public safety, we would, of course, immediately provided much more information, but we also wanted to make sure we fully understood what was going on before we started raising any concerns with the public around this.
Both Xcel and the Minnesota Department of Health say at this point there's no risk to the public.
The plant is located about 3/4 of a mile away from the Mississippi River, and officials tell me none of that leaked water has reached the river, at least not yet.
The groundwater beneath the facility, it's been determined that it moves in the direction of the Mississippi River slowly, but that's the direction that it flows or moves underground.
As crews work to keep the leaked water on site at the plant and retrieve it from underground, they say the rain and snow we're getting now is actually helping.
Actually, as the snow melts and contributes to water in the river, that actually creates a natural pressure that will push the water that leaked from our plant back toward the plant. So nature is actually working with us here, which is good.
Alan Henry, WCCO 4 News.
The state emphasizes
An enormous mass of seaweed has grown to a staggering size in the Atlantic Ocean, raising concerns from scientists. Researchers say this year's bloom of sargassum seaweed is much larger than previous seasons, and it's roughly twice the width of the continental US. Scientists are worried about the environmental and health impact as the seaweed invades coastal ecosystems and covers beaches in the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. Researchers have found that human activity and climate change are fueling these massive blooms of seaweed. Brian LaPointe is a research professor at Florida Atlantic University's Harbor Branch Oceanographic Institute, and he joins me now from Fort Pierce in Florida. Appreciate you being with us.
Well, thank you for the invite.
So, a massive blob of seaweed spanning 5,000 miles is heading straight for the Florida Gulf Coast, so vast, in fact, that it can be seen from space. When do you expect it to hit the coast, and what might this signal for the critical spring break and, of course, the summer months ahead?
Well, the so-called blob of seaweed is this seaweed floating sargassum in the tropical Atlantic Ocean, and that is what we call the Great Atlantic Sargassum Belt. And that sargassum seaweed is moving towards the west and will proceed to move through the Caribbean and up into the Gulf of Mexico and South Florida area in the coming months. And we typically get the peak of that seaweed arriving in Florida around midsummer. July is usually when it peaks.
Yeah, I think I've been there when it's arrived. So why are we seeing such a massive blob of seaweed at this time? What's causing it? And how big a threat does it pose to residents and to sea life?
Well, this is an unusual year in that this sargassum bloom in the Great Atlantic Sargassum Belt started early. It doubled in size between December and January. In 1 month, it doubled in size and was larger in January than it has ever been since this new region of sargassum growth began in 2011. So this is an entirely new oceanographic phenomenon. Previously, the Sargasso was in the Sargasso Sea to the north. That is the central gyre of the North Atlantic Ocean, and would circulate in the currents around that, as well as through the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico. So this is a whole new thing. And this is the source of this sargassum seaweed that is creating such a problem, really a catastrophic problem for tourism in the Caribbean region, where it piles up on beaches up to 5 or 6 feet deep on the beaches in some places. In fact, in Barbados, just last week, they reported they need 1,600 dump trucks a day to clean the beaches of this seaweed to make it suitable for tourists and recreation on the beaches. And, you know, where it comes ashore in the mangroves, it comes in such large quantities that it basically sucks the oxygen out of the water and creates what we refer to as dead zones. These are normally nursery habitats for fisheries, and you know, once they're devoid of oxygen, we have lost that habitat. Right. They are also harmful to seagrasses and coral reefs, and obviously to human health as well, because when they rot, they release toxic hydrogen sulfide gas. They have a high concentration of arsenic in the tissue. So you have to be very careful when you clean the beaches and try to reuse this for fertilizers or some other beneficial use.
So what solutions are...
Listen, I can't stress this enough.